This semester in TE 302, my student and I, whom I will call Steve for the sake of his privacy, read Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Steve is a 9th grader at Sexton High School and is 13 years old. He wants to be a zoologist when he grows up, and he's obsessed with ramen noodles. In his free time, he likes to play video games. His favorite game is Overwatch, which he told me is similar to Call of Duty. Steve was homeschooled prior to this year and said that science has always been his favorite subject. When we first met, Steve was very quiet and reserved. This made me nervous because I didn't know if I would ever get him to trust me enough to open up about his life as a student and reader. Steve also seemed hesitant and was very confused as to why I was even meeting with him in the first place. After explaining to him why I was there and telling him a little bit more about myself, he seemed excited to start Wonder. Steve expressed to me that he hates reading because it's so boring, he doesn't see a point, and he just doesn't feel there's a purpose for it, especially if the books are long. I knew based off of this information that he struggled with a general purpose for reading, as seen in the modified cognitive model, and that I would dedicate our time together to helping him find a greater purpose. As a reader, Steve is not terrible at all, and he doesn't think so either. He takes his time and comprehends the content with ease, but if the content isn't funny, he gets bored. When asked why he doesn't read at home, he said he'd much rather be playing video games or hanging out with his family. When Steve was homeschooled, he said he read a lot more than he does now because his mom made him. He said he still never reads unless it's for homework. In his English class right now, Steve is reading To Kill a Mockingbird. He said he hates it because it's so boring, long, and difficult to understand. He always has to ask his mom for help because she's a teacher. My goal was to show him that just because To Kill a Mockingbird might be the most boring book in the world to him, doesn't mean that all books are like that. As each week passed, I tried to incorporate activities that sparked his creative interests and kept him engaged. Steve enjoyed most of the activities I incorporated into our meeting times, and in the very beginning of the semester, I had Steve engage in a visualization technique from Tovani. I had him draw his 4 favorite characters from Wonder in order to visualize and reflect on their characteristics. I decided to amp up the strategies to cater to the events in the novel he found funny. That's when I tried an anticipation guide. Steve said this activity was beneficial to his understanding and helped him see the bigger picture of the novel. We also played a word association game, and he said this was fun for him because he got to see the similarities between August and himself. In one of our last meetings together, I asked if he would ever read a book like Wonder on his own, using the tips and strategies I introduced him to. He said yes. Week after week, Steve continued to show improvement with his engagement and enjoyment of Wonder. Steve showed sympathy and empathy toward Augie's character, but could also chuckle along with his jokes. This showed both Steve's humorous and soft side. It took me a while to reach this point, but by joking around and being a little less structured and serious with him, we actually became pretty good friends, and I really do think this experience allowed him to open up his mind about reading aside from homework. He said if he ever were to pick up a book and read on his own time, he would choose a mystery book that was filled with suspense. All of the strategies I tried to incorporate during our time together aimed to spark more of an interest and general purpose for reading. I'm happy with the way Steve's mindset about reading changed. We ended every meeting with a smile on our faces and a see you next time. I hope he takes the activities and conversations we've had and continues to read books that make him laugh, just like Wonder did.